Hi everyone, this is Big Benedict. This is I think it's the 21st or 22nd part of my walkthrough. I'm sorry about that. There's just so many parts that I can't remember exactly what it is. But what I do know is that this is an extremely long chapter that might end up being over an hour when I finally finish all the sessions in it. I'm currently at the boss fight, but I wanted to get in some recordings, some audio recordings. So we're as Ellie here, and we're on horseback, and this is a fun section, and I've got to say, this ranks among my favorite levels in the entire game, if not my favorite level. So they've taken off the QuickTime button prompts here because it's on such a high difficulty. That's the only time I got grabbed. It doesn't matter if you get grabbed unless you fail the QuickTime events. So just go in the areas where the enemies aren't. And like I said, if anyone jumps on you, repeatedly tap the square button. I hope I said that. And there's not really any risk here. It's just a fun scenario. You see how I went through here since I saw an enemy, and I'm going to go to the left since I saw that enemy. I'm not sure if more than one enemy jumps on you, if that's even possible, and if that happens, if it's possible to get, continue on riding the horse. But up ahead, I think we get shot off the horse, so the horse gets shot, and you get a checkpoint over here. And I would not stand my ground if I were you. What I would do is quickly run to the resort area. This reminds me of like Lake Tahoe area. So it's winter, and the previous chapter was winter, and this whole video is going to be winter, and then in the next video we're going to be at the bus depot. So this video, like I said in the beginning of this recording, it's going to probably be over an hour. It's already at like 50 minutes in my timeline for my Sony Vegas file of this video. And it's tough, but it's so fun to play as Ellie because she's a little more speedy. What else can't she do? We don't have a flashlight, so that's a problem, especially since I have the brightness all the way up and I'm still struggling to see through the dimness here. You can do silent takedowns with her, and I did notice that you can't rotate the camera around while you're doing it to make sure there's no other enemies in the vicinity. But the reason for that is justifiable because she is just a young girl, so she takes a lot more of a struggle to take down these foes. So there's one item in here. Looks like there's some alcohol, so grab the alcohol. And this is where the first fight commences, and it's it could be whatever you want it to be. It can be a complete stealth section or a gunfight, depending on your preferences, but we really don't have much ammunition. So it kind of does force you to stealth this part. And this part took me a while, just because there's a lot of places for the enemies to hide, and there's just no listen mode. So I'm not an expert at analyzing the pathing of these enemies, and also it differs occasionally. I mean, it's not the same every time. Usually in the beginning, like a scenario like this would always occur for me. Well, when I say always, like this enemy would generally do this about 95% of the time, so I can count on this. But you see the takedown? It looks like it causes a lot of disturbance and disruption, but it is a silent takedown. I mean, it won't remain a silent takedown. Yeah, that was a close call right there. The guy saw his buddy out there, so fortunately he didn't see me, so I got another kill. I've discovered a really good way to play as Ellie, and you can play as, it's pretty much playing as Ellie because you can't do it with Joel. What you do is you have a brick or a bottle on hand, and you have to do this, what I'm going to tell you, when there's no other enemies around. Or if there is an enemy nearby, you've got to make sure that you can flee just in case, because it'll be an aggressive takedown on your part. But since using her blade, you have an infinite number. She has like a switchblade or something. You could use it as much as you want. You just press the square button. But you can't just go up to an enemy and expect to survive just by slashing at them with the square button. You've either got to do a silent takedown with the triangle button, or do a very good. And I don't know how prolific it's been because I don't watch other video guides, except there's a couple I've been watching, or I did watch. So I don't really know how prolific that my strategy is on the internet, but I definitely never saw anyone else doing it. But I'm sure it's a pretty obvious strategy. What you do is, like I was mentioning a moment ago before I got sidetracked by talking about the events on the screen, was that the bottles and the bricks are so plentiful in all the environments in this game. They just put them there for you to grab. So what I just love to do in this entire chapter, whenever I'm playing as Ellie, to not waste ammo or just to do quick kills, is I throw a brick at the enemy. I think I do it here. Let's see if I do it here. Unless I do a silent takedown. Yeah, I decided to do a silent takedown. I'm sorry I couldn't demonstrate it, but it will be demonstrated many, many times because I know a lot of my successful my successes on these parts were pretty much handled in the method I'm going to say. I'm sorry to keep circulating around it, but basically you just throw a bottle or a brick at an enemy. Make sure you have it equipped, of course, and when they're stunned, go over hold the sprint button down, sprint over to them, and press the square button to stab them, and then sprint away from them, and then go back into cover, because it is an aggressive takedown, so people will get alerted. But it's a great way to just conserve your items, because, like I said, the switchblade you can use an infinite number of times. You'll never not be able to use it. And the only other thing is that you might not be able to find a brick or a bottle nearby, but they're all over the place, and they're free for the taking. And it's just really great. So Ellie's obviously lower to the ground than Joel. So some of the things that Joel would be able to climb, she can't. But the trade-off there is that some of the crawl spaces where Joel couldn't go into, Ellie can. So I just love this. I don't know if it's just Ellie. Ellie's just a cool character. I love her. And the environment's cool too. What I don't like is the obscurity when we're doing when the snowstorm comes in. But I have a way to deal with that. I'll show you guys. It basically involves just not going out into the snowstorm, taking care of all the guys inside the buildings, forcing them inside. But I think this was about a 16-minute hunt right here, trying to kill these guys. And I said to myself, should I even leave this in? Should I speed it up a little bit with fast forward, or should I not even speak over it? Just narrate the first few minutes of it and then not talk about it. And then I said to myself, this chapter is called The Hunt, so we're on a hunt here, and sometimes hunts take a long time to do. And believe me, you can't speed your way through this.
Well,
I mean, I could have taken more risks, certainly in some areas, but who knows if I would have survived having taken those risks. The risks I did take meant, let me put it another way, the risks that I did take were successful, because if they weren't, I probably would have got killed, because as you can see, we don't have much health, and she doesn't have much, she can't take too much of a pounding the way Joel can. So it's a very interesting scenario here with this player here. I never knew you would be able to play as her when I first played this game. It's incredible. But like I said, I'm just going to leave this in as it happened, and you can fast forward it if you want to. It's pretty much up to you. Do whatever you want to do. But the problem for me over here, and in a lot of these situations, is I just have no way of knowing where the enemies are. And it comes back to that old, my gripe about not being able to use the listen mode in this game. And I understand that this is the highest difficulty, and I accept that. I accept it. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to allow you to use the listen mode, but it sure makes the game really difficult. Because there's a lot of times when there's just like one or two enemies left, and I have no idea where they are. And I have to rely on just consistently putting cover between me and what I believe to be an area where an enemy is. and really relying on that, what I've been calling the close call music, that little sound effect that it does when there's a close call and you need to get back into cover or get out of the enemy's sight line or something like that. You all know what it is. I hope you know what I'm referencing, that particular sound effect. So this section is very difficult for me, and I don't think you get a checkpoint anywhere. The next section is a lot briefer, so if you want to, it's pretty much up to you how you want to handle the distribution of your items here. I never really even needed to use a nail bomb or a Molotov cocktail. We cannot heal currently, but we will be able to get a heal kit some other time. But doing that strategy of throwing a brick or a bottle at the guy to stun them and then hitting them with the knife, that strategy, it sufficed for this entire chapter. I never needed to do anything other than that, lacking ammo and stuff like that. So, in these bathrooms, I heard a lot of people talking, and even here I thought I could see some feet outside the door, but it was just the environment. And I have to admit that when I was playing this on hard mode, I would very frequently use the listen mode, just because I wanted to get this guide started, and I needed to clear hard mode, and it was very hard for me. So, a lot of the times I just couldn't resist using the listen mode, and that just goes to show you how significantly easier this game is with the listen mode. And I'm fine. I'm not complaining that I can't use it. All I'm really saying is that it makes the game very hard. To have the player not be able to use it, it's very tough. So, what do? You just play better, you keep restarting the checkpoint, and it will come together in the end, trust me. Also, near the end of the level, there is a shiv door when you're playing as Joel. And I just got to it, and it says it requires a full shiv. And in the last chapter, when we're in the university science department, I used a full shiv to open that particular door. If you guys will recall, it was the shiv door that had the 4th level toolbox in it and a lot of other good items like the scrap metal and all those pills. And then also I noticed that the axe that I had from that chapter carries over, so they let you carry over everything. So there's the power of the rifle right there, took that guy out. But since I had used a full shiv on that previous door, and I have a shiv, it's just that it says a full shiv, so I'm not really sure. I'll have to perhaps Google it, or if somebody knows, But that led me to, right there, I got hit, and I just couldn't figure out where that was coming from. But what that led me to believe is that I don't think you can open all the shiv doors in this game with the resources that you're given. Not on survivor mode. I just don't think it, because I've been getting every single item, and the only time I ever use a shiv is to open those doors. But maybe the problem is I'm using too many of the scissors for the nail bombs, or for something else. Maybe, I don't know what the scissors are used for. I know they're used for the shivs, and I know they're used for the nail bombs, but I'll have to look into that a little bit more. So maybe if I had crafted fewer nail bombs, it would have worked out so that I could have a full shiv. But I don't like that. You should have a shiv should open the door. You shouldn't have to have like a bigger shiv. It's just, especially on survivor mode, when the resources, you hardly get anything in this game. So I think this is the last guy right here. So this is as fast as I can walk, and I need to sneak up on him. There we go. It's just so brutal. Oh, do I have the Naughty Dog t-shirt on? I don't know what I have for her. It looks like it. So I'm always going to pick up bricks and bottles. So now what I'm going to do is just go around and do some general looting here. All the enemies are cleared. And you don't really get too much here. Basically, I mean, none of the upgrades we've got for Joel, nothing pertains to Ellie. So, but I got pretty frustrated when I was doing the fights in the snow and I couldn't see anything, and I just didn't know where to go. But now I know, and knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe. I used to love that show in the 80s. I used to watch it all the time, and then those public service announcements, check them out on Google or YouTube. They're kind of corny, but they're true. It really helps out. And I was thinking to myself earlier, if knowing is half the battle, what is the other half? And I was just kind of thinking about what the other half might be. I think action might be the other half, I was considering to myself. But G.I. Joe is a great show, and this game is a great game. So what am I doing here? I'm crafting something. I'm crafting a blade. Yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm crafting items that I never use. I end up never using. So that was wasteful. I mean, I guess it was wasteful. How do you waste something you don't even use? I guess that is the very definition of waste, but I don't know. I think a lot of people like this chapter, like playing as Ellie, but they don't like their being obscured when they're trying to fight.
You got this, Ellie.
But what I would recommend to you is do not fight in the snow, because the enemies can't see you, but the enemy, it's not like the enemy is a co-op partner who's a human being. The enemy is a computer that knows exactly where your position on the map is. So they're going to be ruthless. So up ahead, there's something to interact with up here, and I just forgot about it, and I just ended up sprinting right into the pipe. But the kind of a guide maker I am, I was contemplating editing this out to where it wouldn't appear that I made this little mistake of going in here first, because sometimes my perfectionist's nature would just kick in and override that, because I like to look like I'm perfect, but there's no such thing as perfect, and an error like that is what it means to be human, because we're not perfect. So that's why I left that in. And we're going to come up on another section here with a fight, but I'm not going to do too much shooting. I'm just going to do that little trick it's not a trick, it's a tactic. It's a very good tactic. So here is a checkpoint over here, and you notice I have the bottle in my possession. So what I'm going to do is stay right here for the nonce and wait for these fools to come forward, and we'll just have to see who's doing what over here. Okay, I decided to move over to this U-Haul truck. Well, it's not a truck, it's just the attachment. And of course it doesn't say U-Haul on it, because we can't do that. Okay, so just watch what I do here. It's so good. Such a great way to kill these guys. Stun, sprint, stab, sprint backwards or into cover. Perfect. I mean, it does alert people, but as long as you can stay hidden for a couple seconds, the enemies will cease to aggro, if they ever did. You know what? They never even aggroed, because I was so far away from their hearing range. But this guy was coming. Yeah, you see, I hate situations like this where there's just no way out here. So hopefully one of these guys backed off. Otherwise I would. Yeah, see, fortunately, I think this was this was really risky, but that was, believe it or not, that was a stealth kill. That didn't alert anybody. But the problem was I couldn't find where that other black guy went to. Wait, there he is. No, that's a different guy. There's a lot of enemies over here. No, that's the same guy. So there may only be 3 or 4 enemies over here, so it's very manageable. But the same rules apply. You don't have to just graze the left analog stick when you're crouch walked. But obviously, if you get impatient and you run up to them, they'll obviously whirl around and attack you. And if you get attacked by them and they grab you, you're repeatedly tapping that square button to get out of the grab. I think this guy's the last guy. Or no, maybe there's 2 guys left. But anyway, you are repeatedly tapping that button to get out of there. So I'm always picking up bottles and bricks. I actually like the satisfaction of throwing a bottle at the enemies to hear the glass breaking, rather than the dull thud of a brick hitting the guy's face, which would be ever more painful. But yes, you are doing that QuickTime event to get out of the grab, and you can get out of it, and you'll have the opportunity to then stab them. But if there's anyone else around, they'll shoot you or grab you, and it's pretty much game over, and you'll have to reload. So looks like I have this guy over here, and then the other guy over to the left. So this was a good position for this guy to be in for me anyway. And the hard thing about this is that, for a viewer who's struggling on this part, I could give out advice, and what I'm genuinely hoping is that my advice will carry you through this, even though the situations it's always gonna pretty much be variable, because even though, the beginnings of these fights, they normally occur in the same manner, but it just depends where you are, because the AI will react differently. So I think I just stealth killed this guy because I wanted to save a bottle. But this game is so sophisticated, and you could tell it has such high production values, and I can't imagine that so much money must have been thrown at this game. And that's not a bad thing, that's a very good thing. I'm just saying Sony put so many financial resources into this game, and sure, it's got a few problems, but damn, it's such a great running machine. It's a machine. It's like a Mercedes. And people are calling it the Citizen Kane of video games. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, only because I used to be a film snob, and I watched a lot of foreign movies and stuff like that, and I liked to watch all the classics. And to me, Citizen Kane isn't the greatest movie of all time. The better Orson Welles movie, in my opinion, would be The Third Man, starring Joseph Cotten. It's a film that a lot of people do consider to be better than Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane, even though it's highly lauded by everybody and celebrated, it is a little bit overrated, and I do think that The Third Man is the better of the two films. If you're just comparing those two films, right next to each other. So I think in this room there's only like 2 enemies to kill, so it's really nice. And then we're gonna get caught by David inevitably. So backtrack, found some alcohol. And in hindsight, I should not have crafted those items, just because I never used them. I should have used them, actually, because I'm sure they don't carry over to your next campaign with Joel, when we get to the bus depot. So part of me also thinks that these scissors that we're getting, they have they're divided up into 4 sections like a pie. So I think a full shiv, you need a full... you'd have to get 4 scissors. So I thought you only need 1 pair of scissors to get that, but I think it depends on the difficulty level. So here's the first guy, bottle to the face, and then knife him, and then take cover, see what's going on, and then I think there's only 1 more guy left, to be honest. See, throw a brick, stab him. And then I believe that's the last guy. And what I should have done right here is just turn around and exited. But I thought that the place where you leave is on the other side. Yeah, there are no more enemies. All I need to do now is just go to the double doors on the other side of the building. But I was just being cautious. Never hurts to be cautious. And I was also, trying to get another bottle maybe and looking for loot, which I don't think exists in this area. There might be that bottle of alcohol, but that's about it. Where I saw it in the restaurant area of this hotel or resort, whatever you want to call it. So now I'm going to now I'm sure I know where the exit is, and I'm also sure there's no more enemies. Oh, I thought you could. Why I did that right there is because I thought that you could, if a window was open, I thought the same little interaction with David would occur regardless of if you went out a window or if you just went out these doors. But you have to go out these doors. It's the only way you can get the game to progress to the next area when we're Joel. So it's really cool. So after this confrontation, we are going to be taking control of Joel. And there's no QuickTime button events to do here. But as you can see, once we start out as Joel, we have the axe that we had, or rather that I had anyway, from the University Science Department. So Joel is recovering from his wounds still, so he's a little slower. But I like that. I like how they keep everything the way it was before. Now, regarding the health, I'm not really sure because he is injured, so they might start you off with just, in the yellow amount of health. So those are the only two items that I grabbed once we get out here. And we have a pretty tough fight for the initial fight. For this guy who's already wounded enough. What I believe I do up here is I throw a smoke bomb because the tripwire point is up a ways, and every time you die, they'll start you slightly ahead of, or excuse me, the tripwire point every time you restart, it'll be slightly ahead of you. So it's not like every time you respawn, the enemies are just going to immediately come out of that. You'll see here how they open the gate. I tried to angle the camera over there so you guys could see what's going on. But if you do die, you have as much time as you want to get your loadout the way you want it before that gate opens. It's not going to open until you cross the tripwire point. So here I am. I'm finally using my hunting rifle with the power upgrade, and it's really going to help me out here because even if I get a body shot, I can still kill these guys in one hit. I don't think that's universally applicable. But on certain guys, I mean, if they have armor, I'm pretty sure you can't just hit them in like the chest for them to die. But I managed to get behind this van without getting hit, and I'm just going to use I only have one round left here, so that guy's gone. That's nice. I'm not sure if without that power upgrade, I don't think that would have killed him. I honestly don't think so. So I accidentally equipped the flamethrower. What I want is something other than that, so I can have ammo. And this is just a tough fight. I mean, look at what we have here. We've got those three guys just standing there, and there's nowhere. If I run over to the right, it's going to be really risky. So I'm going to have to take this guy with the El Diablo, and that was a kill right there. So you know what? I think if you get two guys killed, the other guys will retreat, and they keep retreating. And I wasn't quite certain what they were doing when I was actually playing this, but they keep retreating, and I think they're actually baiting you into a trap. You have to go to the left also, because if you notice over there where the barbed wire sandbags are, that's unscalable. You can't mantle over that. So I am perhaps unnecessarily cautious over here, but I survived, so I don't mind that whatsoever. So what I'm doing is crawling around, and his crawl is slower too. I think all his movements until we get fully healed are going to be a little slower. So I love the way it changes back and forth between Joel and Ellie here. It really gives a lot of diversity, and to play as Ellie is fun. I mean, they could have made it to where it wasn't fun, but we're in very competent hands with this the developers of this game, Naughty Dog. I mean, we've always been in good hands ever since Uncharted, and I'm sure further back than that. But my acquaintance with Uncharted, or Naughty Dog, started with Uncharted. and I'm not going to say a spoiler, but when I first got to the beginning of the previous chapter, when we're just Ellie, I honestly thought that, and I'm sure a lot of people feared this, that Joel died, and I thought it was going to be just going to be up to me, up to Ellie to get to the end. But then when I was watching the cutscenes when she's talking to David and she's trying to barter some of the deer meat for antibiotics, then I pretty much knew that she was getting. I mean, who else would she be getting the antibiotics for? One thing I was kind of skeptical of was how she managed to sew up his wounds. I don't know, I mean, maybe they got their hands on a doctor somewhere, but it's kind of inconceivable. But it's still possible. I'm just saying that. So, okay, so you see that guy right there. That's a great illustration of how you should never just push forward in this game without knowing exactly what's around the corner to greet you. So 2 shots from this weapon took that guy out. And I think there might be some sway from the environment, from the snow falling, even though it is gently falling at this point. Or otherwise, he is just, he's incapacitated to the point where he can't aim very well. Or even more probably, I just suck at aiming. So I think I get tagged right over here. Yep, I wasn't looking in all my corners right there. Sometimes there's just so much to look. There's so many areas to scan in this game. It's hard, but it's still fun. And you can go in the house to the right and get some items. I think there are at least like 1 or 2 items. I'm not sure, but I know I went in that house, or I think I actually do go in that house briefly. So here I'm just checking all my corners. I've got my revolver. It's not the best of guns, but it did take care of that guy in 2 shots. The guy whose body I'm standing over right now. So always reload when when there's a lull like this. Well, maybe I didn't go in the house, but you can duck for cover right here. Highly recommend that. There's a fool over there who needs to be shot. And fortunately, it's still summer. It's still gonna be summer for a while in my neck of the woods, but it's been cooling off a little bit. It's 90, whereas it was 115 a week in a row. We had a big heat wave. So I'm drinking my smart water like a son of a bitch. Oh, there's the house that you could probably go into. And you know what? I could have redone this section and had been less tentative, knowing that the enemies do retreat quite a bit. But, who really wants to do a section? I mean, because this section, first of all, I don't know if there's a checkpoint. And second of all, like I said, this is a hunt, and the hunts take a long time. So I'm not sure if you can go in that area of the house. You might be able to. You might want to check that out. But I jumped out here, and then it kind of clicked, because I remember when I was playing it on hard, that you just jump over this and you get a cutscene, and then there's an interrogation scene with Joel, which is really satisfying to watch, because he takes these 2. I think both of these guys end up living, or yeah, these are the 2 guys that he interrogates. And it's just so brutal, but hell, Ellie's being held captive, and we've got to save her. So the cutscene also up ahead that I skipped, it also includes Ellie's incarceration and her escape. So right now all we have is a switchblade. So what you want to do is go in here right away, and I believe there's an item through that crawl space over there. So what is this exactly? What was this?
I can do this.
There's something over here. Okay, there's the med pack. So getting that med pack right there, I think it just allows us to start crafting heal packs. Or rather, I don't think it, yeah, allows us to heal. So a couple of hard confrontations up here, and you may notice a little jumpy edit over here because they place you in a weird location when you die, but I'm going to stick to my tried and true method, you guys, of throwing a bottle at these guys and then stabbing them with the square button and then backing off. But bear in mind that you have to sprint. When you run at them, make sure you sprint. I know that sounded kind of redundant, but just make sure you sprint and see how this bestial struggle goes on when she's clinging to them, which is really realistic. So there's another guy right there. I was wondering if he was going to find that body, so smash in the head, stab, and then retreat. So I don't know where the other enemies are. They could be anywhere. I don't have the listen mode on. I can't have it. It's disabled. So that other guy, I'm not sure what he did, but he was not aggroed, if I remember correctly. He's just some enemies in this in this game just kind of sprint, and I think it's part of their own pathing. So one of these, I think it's a random enemy, but you notice I have a revolver now, and that's because one of the guys that I killed, I'm not sure who it was, I'll have to rewind it, or you will have to if you want to see it, because I don't really care who it was. All I know that I have a revolver now. So you have to get the revolver. You have to kill the enemies. So I'm going to sneak back here. And there's a health pack in the drawer. Just watch out, because when you open the drawer, you're exposed. So, tried and true method once again. Throw the brick in the fucker's face and stab him. Hit the square button and back off. Then grab another brick. See how plentiful all this shit is? Throw another brick. Hopefully get out of the way first. Select a brick. Make sure you always select a brick, because you'll be sometimes I fuck up too. I'm running at the enemy, pressing the R1 button, and it's just not throwing the brick, and I'm getting shot up. So Ellie flinches a lot more than Joel does too, so if you ever get caught in gunfire, you're really screwed. And here I'm making items that I end up never using. It's regrettable, but oh well. So we are going to be facing a boss of this level too, but it's not the boss is not at the very end of the level. I think his death occurs there, but the actual confrontation with him occurs at the near conclusion of the level. And if any of you guys don't know what he's doing, David, I don't think he's a rapist. I think he just wanted to know that Ellie was capable of surviving on her own, and I think he would have wanted to marry her and be able to maybe repopulate and start a tribe or a clan of his own. So I know it doesn't sound like, it's obviously it's bad stuff, but this is the end of the world, and obviously it's no rules apply anymore, because this is martial. It's not even martial law, because there is no law. It's just the law of the jungle, I guess you'd say. But I think he does want her as a mate, and I'm kind of ambivalent about the character David. He looks suspicious and he looks really shady. But when I was watching the Nolan North interview, Nolan North was really defending him, and I don't know if it was out of like pride or ego, or he just wanted to defend his character, but he was really defending David, even though he was calling him an asshole and stuff. But he was being objective. I got to give him credit for that. He was being objective about the fact that the guy probably was just protecting his tribe, if you want to call it a tribe. But here when I was playing, I just put two and two together. You're probably just supposed to follow the barrels that are glowing orangish yellow, since we've been having our waypoint indicators in this game being yellow pieces of color. So you get a checkpoint right over here. I believe there's going to be a checkpoint. And the more she talks to herself, the more you know that you've cleared the enemies, and also that you're going the right direction. So it's going to be a checkpoint right here. A little edit there. So I'm going to sprint up here, drop down for cover to be out of this enemy sight line, and you could either jump through the window when he gets around the corner, or just do the tried and true. And for some reason, I'm sure the second enemy, there's two enemies over here. But sometimes the other enemy, he's down below, and he takes time to get up the stairs. So I don't think I even encountered him. But believe me, I've encountered him several times. Sometimes he'll show up like right in front of you. So, you know, the reason I'm being cautious over here is because I'm trying to discern, you know, in amidst this snowstorm where I cannot see anything, where this guy might be. But in reality, he either didn't spawn, which is likely, or he's down below where the stairs are. So we're going to another checkpoint area up ahead. So all you had to do in that checkpoint was just kill those two guys, or just the one guy in my case, and it could be the case for you. It just depends. That's not the guy though. That's a different guy. See, when she says this place is a damn maze, then you do know that you are going in the right direction. And I momentarily backtracked to find a bottle, and there one was. I don't think throwing bottles to do that trick that I've been showing you guys, that's not wasting them, because they're all over the fucking place. Yeah, there's another bottle, and the checkpoint is right over here too. So this is I don't know, some of these areas were harder for me than others, and I just remember struggling a lot on this section for some reason. Because this is some kind of an arcade shop, and there's nothing in that thing right there. If there's nothing in there, it means there's nothing in there permanently. I mean, but I always open it just to show you guys that there's nothing in there. Now this guy to the right, he'll always go that way, so you're never bombarded by two guys. So throw the bottle at this guy, stab him, and then I think the other guy is on alert, so you'll have to crouch, pick up this bottle, and then just make sure you know which way this guy's going. He turned around. Most of the times he would go and just investigate that body a little bit longer, and for some reason you can't scale that see the little ledge to the left that in that room that I was just in, you can't scale that. So I think I pretty much went balls to the walls here. I tried to stab this guy, then another guy came up, and then the computer didn't know what to do, and then this guy grabbed me. But there's only a few enemies, so I ended up surviving here. And I think I got a headshot over here. Took out the gun. Bam! Complete accident. I'm not that good of a shot, you guys. There's no way. That's like 1 out of 10 for me, or 1 out of 100. So I think that's all the guys. So just keep following the flames.
Where do I go?
You know what? If you turn the brightness down, you could probably see more stuff, but it's intentionally obscured. And I'm not going to be messing around with brightness any more than I have to. I already put it up to the highest setting. If I can't see, I can't see. You know, it's just the way they made this part. But it would just be suicide to do any of these encounters just out in the snow. You definitely need to be in a store or something. Okay, so this is where the boss battle occurs. And the only thing you have to do in here is just go to the front door. And you'll also notice that there's broken dishes on the floor. Now, when we fight David, we're going to have to go around the tables and not step on the broken glass of the dishes. So if there is broken glass in your way, you have to go another route. And the boss is pretty tough, but you only have to hit him 3 times, and you get a checkpoint every single time. So I'm not sure if the fight commences here, or if there's another section with Joel. I kind of forgot.
How did you do it?
I imagine that it occurs right here. Okay, so yeah, it does occur here.
All right.
So this is the boss fight. It's not that hard, but this guy, he starts out walking very slowly, and then he just starts moving at like a superhuman speed. It's really ridiculous, but all you have to do is stab him in the back 3 times. You cannot try to hit him it will not let you hit him from direct or even from the side, unless you're really lucky. So see how right there I could have hit him on the back, but if I had gotten those dishes, he would have whirled around and hit me. So you see, he heard me right there because I went on the dishes. And he seems to have a really good field of vision. It's hard to get below his field of vision. I think he could see over the tables, to be honest, because he's so tall. So I did the first two. I hit him twice without getting killed, and then I did get killed on the third stab. And it's actually a lot preferable just to get yourself killed, because what will happen is he'll go into the kitchen area and you could set up your attack. So here's where the edit is, and I died. And now you'll notice that I'm not... Oh no, that was the first stab, I'm sorry. So now he brings out his machete, and he means business now. See how fast he runs? So you really are going to have to... You're going to have to sprint, but sprinting is going to betray where you are, and so is stepping on those dishes. So you're going to have to sprint, even though, this guy just goes crazy. His AI is pretty finicky and just off the wall crazy. So just kind of wait until you get a good opportunity. That's all you really have to do. See, great opportunity right here. And now there's going to be a scene where David is gone, and I'm going to sprint over to this area, but I'm going to have to slow down eventually. When I played this on hard mode, David would always stand in the kitchen, like over to the left in front of the ovens every single time. But when I played it this time, and every successive time I died, didn't pick up that heal because it's completely unnecessary. If he grabs you, you're instantly dead. So it's kind of random where he comes out, but I think it's... I mean, he's never going to come out like directly where you are, or he's not going to spawn where you are. So just look how fast he runs at you, and sometimes I wonder, like, how the fuck did he just see me right there? It doesn't make any sense. And he has a long range with his bayonet, his machete, and it's kind of not fair because you're in cover and he's not. He didn't see you, but somehow he just intuits where you are. So it's a little unfair, but it is worth it when you can stab him. But it's not over yet. It will resume in the next part. Okay, after this, we're going to be resuming control of Joel, and we're in the gas station area. And there's a lot of enemies over here. And the one enemy that will one-shot kill you is the sniper who is standing on the truck. And our goal is to get into the truck. See the lighted area where the truck is? Just watch out for that. But I'm going to go crazy with the axe. I might get a stealth kill or two. But it's time to go axe heavy. Oh, okay, that was nice. One time I shot that guy in the face right where I was, and he flew so far back in like a twirl. It was funny, but here we go, getting some axe kills here. And this is the area where the shiv door is, and I'm still pissed off about it because it says requires a full shiv. And look, see, I have a full shiv right there on top of my health bar. It says 1. That's a shiv. But apparently, it's not a full shiv, it's the partial shiv because there's 3 slivers. Or maybe that's the uses of the shiv. I don't know. But all I know is that I can't open that fucking door, and I wanted to open all the shiv doors in this game. It was also brought to my attention earlier by somebody who was very observant that I missed a shiv door in the first section of the Pittsburgh area. Apparently there's a shiv door where the red exit, or there's a red door with an X on it, I think, or some door with a red X on it, and it's a shiv door, and I missed it, and I regret it, but it's way too far back to start the whole campaign over. But anyway, I'm going to shoot this guy, try to get a headshot on this guy, because I can see his silhouette. But I think if you have the power upgrade, you would be able to kill him even if you hit him in the chest, or even if your headshot didn't end up being a headshot. But the reason I went over here is because I heard somebody talk about, where the hell is Joel or something like that. So I needed to take care of that guy. Now I'm going to grab the 2x4 since my axe has no more uses and take out this guy. I think this might be the last guy, but if you try to go over to the truck bed, try to go in there, you're dead. So I'm going to zoom in here. Nice tooltip right there, and just take this guy out of the head. Perfect. He's dead. One time I took him out and I sprinted over to the area and I still got one-shotted, but the reason was I did not kill him. So I don't know I don't know what's going on with that. It might be that if you don't get a headshot, he might not die even if you have the upgrade. for this weapon, for the power upgrade. And this might be all the enemies, but I'm not sure. You see the reason I'm aiming up there? I'm aiming just to see if I'm trying to bait anybody who's still alive to shoot me, especially somebody up there, because, like I said, the previous time I did this, somebody shot me from up there. So I wasn't sure if maybe there were 2 guys up there, but there's only 1. And unfortunately, I don't believe there's any items in here. The shiv door is over here. I think I'm going to interact with it just to show you guys what it is. And that's bullshit. I have a shiv. Just let me open the door. That's big time bullshit, in my opinion. So yes, now I believe, yes, all the enemies are dead. All I need to do is sprint into that truck bed and go to the next checkpointed area. So this is the final battle area right here, and we have what I believe is 4 enemies to slay, and then that'll be the end of this whole chapter, except there will be one more scene with Ellie and David. So I've been with you all this time, so I'll just stick around and finish this off. I'm going to scale the wall here, get a stealth kill, but I think I alerted the guy behind me. Pretty much knew that for a fact. And I get shot up to the point of death over here, but I just ran with it literally because I'm gonna get filled up in the next chapter. They always refill your health all the way up from chapter to chapter. So I just said, you know what? I'm a little sick of this. I'm just gonna smash this guy up. And I just decided to forego dealing with that guy. Then this guy got in my way a little bit, so had to go around the barricade. And I think I just ignore this guy. See? And this is sloppy, but it just gets to the point where I just want to finish the chapter. Oh, I did take this guy out. That's good. They were going to run into the building. See? Barely survived, but it doesn't really matter if they're going to fill you up anyway. So here he's found her backpack, and you can view it if you want to. You can't look inside of it, you just turn it around and look at it. Oh, Christ. So these guys are cannibals, they're eating people. And that's bad news. So once you open the door, we're going to get a cutscene.
Ellie.
Oh no, we don't get a cutscene. We just go to the next scene here. And I'm going to let this play out. I don't have the cutscene at the very end because I don't want my video to get flagged. But Ellie wins the fight and she slashes up David to bits. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in springtime.
I knew you had heart. You know, it's okay to give up. Ain't no shame in it. I guess not. Just not your style, is it? You can try begging.
Fuck you.
You think you know me? Huh? Well, let me tell you something. You have no idea